Big exciting news to start your new day as election results are still coming in, but renew focus on your second stimulus check, stimulus package, and more as Wall Street reacts to the results overnight. Meantime, big announcements for Uber and Lyft drivers, big announcements for minimum wage, and big announcements for where the economy could be going in the next few weeks. It's a great morning and also a personal message. I'm so excited you're here on Mornings LALATE. Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Mornings LALATE. I hope you're good and safe. We did not deliver early Mornings LALATE because of our late night broadcast last night. We literally broke almost all records with over 120,000 people tuning in for our live election coverage last night, making us one of the most watched non-broadcast channels reporting online. It was a 4.5 hour broadcast with over 3,000 people in the room at any time and 7,000 likes. It was absolutely incredible. We will stay with the election results, but this will focus a little bit more on your stimulus. Thank you for tuning in. If you've not subscribed, go to the first channel, subscribe, because you see why this channel is growing so quickly, because we're keeping it fun, keeping it easy breezy, and keeping it very informative down to the minute. Moreover, I'll have election results all throughout the day, so you don't want to miss another taping. And I'll be changing up the programming schedule throughout the day as well. Also, like this video, it helps with the algorithm. In this video, I'll be going over the results initially at the time of this recording, which is 7:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Those results can change by then. But I'm not going to focus a lot of time on the results. I'll leave that for the election report videos on the channel today. Rather, what I'm going to focus on is the economic numbers that we're getting today, the economic policies that were passed by state citizens across the country overnight, and what Wall Street is saying about your stimulus and stimulus relief today. All right, it's a great morning. The toast is toast and the butter is butter. I'm here, you are here, and I'll also have a personal message at the end, so please stay to the end. All right, let's get to the breaking news. The breaking news as you sit here today is that Wall Street is awaiting election results, as you and I are, and those results are still uncertain. What's also uncertain is how long we would have to wait. This is also making an impact on your stimulus and stimulus check debate. Currently, as you sit here this morning, the Dow Jones is up. The S&P is up. The Nasdaq's up a little bit bigger, about 200, 300 points. The bond market is flat. The 10-year Treasury bond is flat. And trading is relatively brisk. As you sit here this morning, the focus of this channel remains upon the balance of power in the Senate. And at the moment, we really just don't know. If you were with me last night, the balance of power remained close all last night. And as of this morning, it's still really up for grabs. We're waiting results for Senate races in Alaska, Arizona, Georgia's special election, Maine, Michigan, and North Carolina. And with that, it's just too close to call. The Republicans are doing better in the Senate races than expected. They retained ownership of South Carolina, Iowa, and Montana seats that many thought were going to fall. It has been a dead race all day long, and it was a dead race last night. What does this mean for your stimulus? It means that the Temple of Doom's belief that it would be a blue wave and that everything would become her way or the highway has not manifested. It also means that we still don't know if the Democrats will take the Senate or not. Let me explain the implication for stimulus and stimulus relief. First of all, any bill that is passed in the House has to go to the Senate to get approval before going to the President. And ultimately, whoever becomes president is not dependent upon the bill if it never gets there, because the Senate has to approve it. And at the moment, we just don't know if the Senate is going to stay Republican or become Democratic. Last night, the House was retained by the Democrats. There was some strange reporting at one point that this House had fallen to the Republicans. Just not true. That was sort of a Temple of Doom falling, does this. Okay, we all slept really well on that belief, but that just did not happen. So anything the Senate writes would be landing, anything the House writes would be landing in the Senate. At the moment, we just really don't know. There's renewed focus on your stimulus and stimulus check, but the important thing is that the purple power, the followers of this channel, really keep the focus on stimulus by social media tweeting, Facebook tweeting, Twitter tweeting, because the position of the political races for the president are so close that my concern is the oxygen of broadcast news may stay on election coverage and potentially contested election coverage over the next day or two, and that might eat up focus on stimulus. Let me explain where we are this morning. If you look in the major business channels, there's no discussion about stimulus. If you look at them, there's actually no discussion about anything but contested elections, fears of runoffs, fears of not knowing results for days. And that concern is something we expected for one day. We expected this for Wednesday. The question is, how many days is it going to continue? And ironically, you saw very little, if any, financial news on financial news channels this morning. Rather than what they were focusing on were some of the legislative efforts, and you're owed these stimulus checks, and they were pushing and focusing on stimulus just as of Monday. But the question is, how soon do we get back on message? You're owed multiple stimulus checks, so let's go over the deal provisions, and let's go over the amounts, and let's go over them item by item right now. All right, so stimulus check. You're owed a stimulus check for the second stimulus check period. That would be at least $1,200. It would be for all adults, presumably, and a check for children. Both deal provisions provide stimulus checks for everyone, whether you're adult dependent or an adult non-dependent. Republicans' last offer was more than $1,200, so that's really good news, and for all adults. So if you're on SSDI, SSI, Social Security, and Railroad benefits, you would get a stimulus check. For children, it was $1,000. This is also really good. Not taken out for child support, debt collections, or back taxes, also really good. Then you turn to other items in the second stimulus package. FPUC, retroactive to September, but the purple power has been pushing to be retroactive further to August. The amount, $400 to $600 a week, really still up in the air. Certainly does not look like it's going to through the $300 a week, because the Republicans did not retain ownership of the Senate. We thought they could have, and that false narrative of $300 to $200 a week that Mitch wanted to push is really seemingly not happening. So that's really good news there. Then you have all the other provisions that are in the second stimulus package that likely would get passed, which are money for children, eviction moratoriums, mortgage forbearance, student loan debt forgiveness, rent money. Let me go over all the grants. Rent grant, food grant, EIDL grant, Lifeline $50,000 grant, CDC frontline worker grant. So you see there's a lot of grants in there, and then you have the allocation of state and local, which the Republicans put at $300 billion, and that would go to frontline workers as a grant, but paid by your state or city or county. The money would come from the federal government, and then they would give it to you. So all really good news as we then focus on the third stimulus package. There is that thing called COVID, and if you looked at broadcast news, I have no idea what the number of COVID-19 cases were from yesterday. They're not even reporting it. This is just, you can see how oxygen is being eaten up by the elections. COVID number of cases are dictating whether you're going back on a lockdown or not. For example, Chicago is currently on curfew at 7.1% infection rate, and has been told if they go to 8% infection rate, they will go on lockdown. Well, where is that stimulus? That's called lockdown stimulus, or third stimulus, and that's from the period of November, December to March. That needs to be passed and hasn't even been written. That would be stimulus checks, hazard pay, FPUC, rent, all those type of things, and it hasn't been done. So then we look at collectively the two periods together, and what are the concerns? One of the issues is MSC, which I launched on this channel several weeks ago, hashtag MSC, multiple stimulus checks. There's no way that one stimulus check from the month of May to the month of April next year is going to cut it. Second, the concern about enough retroactiveness of FPUC, and the concern that we extend the number of weeks of benefits of PUA and UI enough because we're not getting that therapeutic or that vaccine soon enough that you could run out of benefits by the end of December. Then the concerns about eligibility for grants, the concerns about eligibility for loans, and the concern about eviction moratoriums. Those expire in December. Most of the programs of the second stimulus package expire in December. So that can't be done if we don't see that the vaccine is any closer or the therapeutic is any closer. And so when you see these Senate races just too close to call, then you understand that the focus stays on stimulus. What you need to do with the purple power is to really keep the focus up a lot large and strong and loud. Let me give you a personal message in the middle of this broadcast right now. I personally want to thank everyone that tuned in last night for our live election coverage. It proved a lot of things. First, it proved that we're a great family. Second, it proved that we have similar thoughts and that we can talk about a lot of things besides a stimulus check. I virtually did not speak about a stimulus check last night and spoke entirely about election results, costs of living, health and wellness, depression, and things like that. And we had a ball. We absolutely had a ball. And it shows as a community, the Purple Power, we can talk about a lot of things and at a lot of things at a given time. I want to touch on something that came up in the live chat last night, which was cost of living. I asked viewers, when looking at price of milk, and first I asked what was the price of milk and eggs where you live, and we had those answers. Then I asked, okay, now that the prices have gone up, and you've confirmed the prices have gone up, have they gone up because of inflation or gouging? And the vast majority of viewers said it was either gouging or gouging and inflation. And then I asked them, why do you think there's gouging? And they said, because they can. And then lastly, I said, when do you think the gouging is going to go away? The price escalation, they said never. They said that they're raising the prices and they're never going to come down. This was shocking. And this is amid concerns that Wall Street since last week has asked the Federal Reserve to step in and stop inflation. Ultimately, if the price escalation is not because of gouging, but inflation, the Federal Reserve needs to step in. And there will be calls upon the Federal Reserve, again, as soon as we get past this election coverage, to get into Congress and raise and do things to ensure that inflation is not kicking in, which the Federal Reserve initially wanted, but when there's stimulus, and currently that doesn't make sense. Let me give you some other breaking news that impacts your stimulus this morning. In Congress, you have a new representative, the youngest in U.S. history, Madison Cawthorn. Congratulations to him in North Carolina's 11th district. In California, big news. You have heard me talk about Uber and Lyft a lot on this channel. I have done Uber and Lyft videos for PUA and UI. I've done Uber and Lyft videos for that congressional move initially to give them a retroactive check of $2,000 to $7,000. I've covered Uber and Lyft for the California lawsuit to determine that they are employees, not independent contractors, and try to recoup millions of dollars. Well, that Uber and Lyft law that was on the books for voters in California to vote on last night has passed by predictions. This is a shocking development and a breaking news story this morning. Shares of Uber and Lyft are up 12 to 17% this morning on the belief that Proposition 22 has passed. This was Uber and Lyft's final lifeline to survive in the state of California. The state of California's Attorney General, which is a Democrat, had sued Uber and Lyft to call them employees, not independent contractors, and said that they were misclassifying their workers. The lawsuit resulted in Uber and Lyft being put into an injunction by the courts to stop from classifying their workers as independent contractors. That caused Uber and Lyft to initially and for some time suspend operations in the state of California because of this classification pending appeals of the lawsuit. But Uber and Lyft took another route to take it to the polls, to take it to the voters to determine whether they should decide whether they are independent contractors or employees, and whether it's up to Uber and Lyft to determine it, not a court system. And by all accounts, the bill is appeared to have passed. Bank of America analysts said in a note last night, we would expect other states to now be less aggressive in trying to pass similar legislation, which would be important for Uber and Lyft and its peers. Overall, while Uber faces regulatory challenges in the UK and US states, the vote alleviates a big uncertainty and could open the stock to new investors, eventually providing higher delivery. Again, this is based upon projections on the vote, and California ballots are still outstanding. Elsewhere, Florida passed a ballot initiative to raise its minimum wage to $15 an hour. This becomes the 8th state to approve a pay floor raise of $15 an hour, reports CNBC. In Florida, President Donald Trump at the same time defeated Joe Biden to capture the state of Florida. Let me go over some incredible questions and comments from yesterday's video. Silly, I've never been so disappointed about our leaders. Ken, America is the only country that's not giving stimulus. Robert, they've waited too long. Jason, none of the old incompetent people pay our bills. Beltanic, it's like a party is going to be happening in LA. Look forward to your videos today with the live feed. More about that in a second. That was a blast. Timmy, if they don't do something, they need to do it fast. William, we can't get our stimulus if we die from the disease. Oh God, let's just start with that negativity in the morning. Linda, the second stimulus check needs to be higher. Vito, good morning, LA family. It's a privilege and a right to vote in other countries. Phyllis, good morning, LA and the Purple Power family. Tracy, I've never been ashamed of our leaders like this. Sarah, we need to do big check from April to the present, then $2,000 a month to the epidemic is over. Beverly, I've been working at Walmart this whole time. So Walmart does pay bonus pay, by the way. Rich, our government is not winning. Zelda, show us the money. Robin voted in South Carolina this morning. It took an hour, and then there was a lot of folks waiting in line. I'm glad that you voted. If you have questions or comments in today's video, drop them in the comments below. I may feature them in tomorrow's recording. Finally, a personal message. I really appreciate everyone for tuning into last night's live feed. It was categorically, jaw-droppingly a success. The recording was 4.5 hours long. Initial numbers show that there's 120,000 people that watched the video. They're still now watching in an archive. It was basically a single take with only one break or two breaks during the entire 4.5 recording. We were fun. We were lighthearted. We had a ball. It was a party in the USA. We all tuned in. We had a lot of talk. Everything from my teeth to the wall behind me. And it showed that we can do a lot of things. It showed that we can be a family. It shows that we can talk about a lot of things other than a stimulus check. It showed that we can talk about my teeth. It showed that we can just interact and have a lot of ball. And it shows that we can do other things on this platform. And that's what was really the big winner last night. You were the winner. We had a ball. It was also to combat any type of depression that anyone might have from the election or uncertainty or stress. And I think we crushed the stress. We crushed the stress. There may be other live broadcasts today. I'm trying to figure out how to modify the schedule based upon the election results, so stay tuned with me as well. Go to the first channel, subscribe because we're having the best time of our lives, and we can continue to do so. Also like this video. Oh, and Sirloin says hello from the Calcito. As always, stay informed, stay smiling, and stay in my life for more.